And I can tell you I have been around the world in the last 14 or 15 years, and I have seen transformation many, many times. And I can tell you it looks the same on everybody's face. I don't care if you're from Japan or China. I don't care if you're from South America. I don't care if you're from Canada. It all looks the same.
I'm your host, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Let's begin.
So then, what if you woke up in the morning and instead of getting up and doing the same exact thing, the exact same time and seeing the same people, what if you eliminated the external environment? What if you put your body away, because the change is to be greater than the body? And if the body's become the mind, then you have to retrain it. And what if you said, I'm not going to live in my predictable linear time? And you said, what is the greatest expression of myself that I can be today? Let me master this one day as a lifetime. And you said, let me remind myself of the thoughts that are connected to the old self, and I want to become so conscious of those unconscious thoughts they would never slip by my awareness again. And what if you said, let me observe my behaviors, and just like you watching yourself doing a public speech or hitting a golf ball or hitting a tennis ball, if you can observe yourself, you'll self-correct. Wouldn't you agree? What if you said, let me just take a look at how I've been acting? And like Gandalf on the bridge, you said, you may not pass today. You may not pass ever again. And you made a decision with such firm intention that the amplitude of that decision carried a level of energy that was greater than the hardwired programs in your brain and the emotional addictions in your body. And your body responded to a new mind. And what if you said, these emotions that keep me anchored to the past, I will not drop to a lower denominator today. And you became clear of who you no longer wanted to be. You lit a match in a dark place. And then you said, how would greatness live today? How will I love? Can I be present? Can I open my heart? How will I behave? And you begin to think in new and unusual ways. And if by chance you're so caught up in your internal vision that the thought becomes the experience in your mind, and your body begins to produce the emotions ahead of the event, you're moving into a new state of being. Because how you think and how you feel creates a state of being, and now you're broadcasting a whole new electromagnetic signature into the field. And what if you said, I am not getting up from my meditation until I am this person? Now we're talking about greatness. And your body is bucking and kicking like an unbridled stallion. It's impatient, it's frustrated. Why? Because we trained it to be that way. And it wants to get up and open its eyes and do things to reaffirm the identity of the emotion that it's addicted to. And you're saying, stay, stay. Just like an animal trainer, the body is the animal. It's the servant to the mind. But when the body becomes the mind, the servant becomes the master. And most people think they're making all their choices with their conscious mind. They're making choices with their body mind. And so now, the person is working on transformation. And the body is looking for its chemical rush. And it's sending signals up the spinal cord to the thinking brain. And it's looking, the thermostat in the brain that's measuring the amount of chemicals of suffering or guilt or shame. All of a sudden, you're no longer thinking that way, and the body is craving those chemicals. It's modified its receptor sites. It's saying, hey, I've been doing this for 20 years. You think you're doing all this? I'm doing it for you. You're going to quit right now? And all of a sudden, it starts to send signals back to the brain, and all of a sudden, you hear those voices in your head. You're too much like your mother. You'll never change. Forget it. Start tomorrow. And you sit down with that body and you say, that's all you got? That's your best? That's it? Come on. And you say, come on. We're not getting up until we're in a state of joy, or we are in a state of gratitude. And now you are conditioning the body to a new mind. And every time it wants to move to the past because it's emotional and frustrated, or starts to anticipate the future, you bring it back to the present moment. Every time you do that, you're reconditioning your body to a new mind, and you're liberating energy from particle to wave. And what if you got up broadcasting a whole new electromagnetic signature? And your job, by the way, is to maintain that modified state of mind and body your entire day. You can't, do a meditation and be all spiritual and, feel all great and get on the freeway and cutting people off. That's like eating an organic, healthy breakfast and then spending the rest of the day eating junk food. Your job is to maintain that modified state, independent of the conditions in your environment, independent of the addictions or habits of your body, and independent of time. And if you can, get ready, because something unusual is going to happen in your life. That's the law. So then how is self-love built? So many people in this culture confuse pleasure with self-love. It's nothing to do with each other. It's not about a manicure or a new car or a massage, or not that I have anything against any of those things. But self-love is built when you're sitting there and your body is raging and it's telling you it can't, and you're sitting there and you're working with it. And sooner or later it acquiesces and it surrenders to your mind. And I can tell you from experience, I have sat with my body for hours. And the moment I freed my body from the past, and there was that liberation of energy, the voice came out of my head every time, and it's always the same voice. That was so worth it. Because the moment the body is free from being enslaved, that moment you are seeing reality from a whole different place. So then you get up, and you've overcome yourself, and you've freed your body from the chains of the past. You've created a future. You're already in that future. And as my daughter always says, I just live my life as if my prayer is already answered. So how would you live your life if you knew your prayers were already answered? But that means then you have to get up as if your prayers are already answered. So then people are doing this around the world, and they're creating all kinds of wonderful things in their life. They're doing the uncommon, which, by the way, is our birthright. And that no material thing is going to bring us to true happiness. That our purpose in life, then, is to begin to look at those emotions that keep us anchored to the past, and look at our habits that keep us defining ourselves in the same way, and begin to remove those layers within us that block the flow of the divine. And as we begin to layer by layer peel those limitations away, the masks, that intelligence that's giving us life begins to leak out of us. It begins to consume us. Its nature becomes our nature. Its mind becomes our mind. Its will becomes our will. Its consciousness becomes our consciousness. Its love becomes our love. We become like it. We start to give. It is a giver. And so then, when that occurs, then all of a sudden you start to experience a level of joy that's coming from within you. That you're no longer seduced by the conditions in your external life, and you would never judge another person because you wouldn't want to lose this feeling. How many people are with me? Now listen, all of you in this room, every single one of you have done something great in your life. Would you agree? I'm talking to the part of you that already knows this. That all of you have done something that you are proud of, that you are in love with yourself for. There are no schools of ancient wisdom on the top of the Himalayas waiting for us to be initiated. Your life is your initiation. That the conditions and challenges in your life, the adversity, is for you to meet those challenges with a new level of mind. And I don't care. Listen, I react to things all the time in my life. The question is, how long are you going to do it? And if you want to teach your kids anything, teach them how to shorten the refractory period of their emotional reactions. They will no longer be hanging on to the past. So then, who gets to benefit from the changes you make within you? First who? You, and then your family, and then the people you work with, yes? And then ultimately your community. Would you agree? So then, before we break, my last thought. How do you become supernatural? You would have to agree that you would have to start doing what's unnatural. Yes? When everybody else is in fear, that's the time to show courage. When everybody else is in lack, that's the time to give. When everybody else is judging, that's the time to show compassion. When everybody else is hysterical and racing to the top, you're calm and present and you're already there. And if you keep doing what's unnatural, sooner or later it will become supernatural. Would you agree? And there's this concept in biology that I love. It's called emergence. Did you ever see a group of fish all do the same thing at the same time? Or birds, they do all that. Even neurons do the same thing. Now, if you study that phenomenon in biology, you study it, you realize something really amazing, because if you look at that, you think there's a leader, like, hey, follow me, right? Turns out there's no leader. It's not a top-down phenomenon. It's actually a bottom-up phenomenon. You know what that means? Everybody's leading. Everybody's doing it at the same time. They're connected in a community, and they're all doing the same thing at the same time, and there's power in numbers, and they become one. You with me? So there's an unconscious stigma that all great people get it in the end, right? If you get too passionate about something and you lead with passion, you're going to get it. Martin Luther King got it. Gandhi got it. Joan of Arc got it. Abraham Lincoln got it. John Lennon got it. Everybody gets it in the end if you're an individual. So subconsciously, most people are like, ooh, I don't want to shine too much, But what if everybody's leading? Can't take out everybody, can you, huh? So the new consciousness that's emerging, the new consciousness is about us demonstrating all of this. To demonstrate it in every area of your life. You can't tell me you want peace in the world and be arguing with your coworker. Take care of that first. You can't tell me you want abundance, but you feel lack. You can't feel lack. An abundant person doesn't feel lack. They feel abundance. So then gold only attracts gold. Lead doesn't attract gold. So then we have to really demonstrate all the things that we want to see in the world. And if you're overcoming your fear and anxiety, and I'm overcoming my frustration and anger, and I'm working on me and you're working on you, we're more prone to really serve and give, and we begin to connect on a deeper level. And I can tell you, I have been around the world in the last 14 or 15 years, and I have seen transformation many, many times. And I can tell you it looks the same on everybody's face. I don't care if you're from Japan or China. I don't care if you're from South America. I don't care if you're from Canada. It all looks the same.